Welcome to Elaine Clark VO Real Talking Tips, where it's all about communication. I'm the author of There's Money Where Your Mouth Is, a complete insider's guide to earning income and building a career in voiceovers, and voiceovers for podcasting, how to develop a career and make a profit. I'm also the creator of 2 Elaine Clark apps, Activate Your Voice, 5-minute exercises to strengthen your speaking voice, and Adding Melody to Your Voice, speech improvement instruction and workout. This first series of micro-learning lessons is 52 weeks, so subscribe and tune in each week to Real Talking Tips for a new communication lesson. Episode 46, Making It Mine. What's your motivation? So far in Real Talking Tips, we identified our strengths and weaknesses, worked on some voice improvement exercises, tempo changes, adding emotion, storytelling, power box voice placement, word emphasis options, and the power of persuasion. Now, we'll dive into a system I created and have used for over 30 years that quickly adds depth, subtext, and meaning to what we have to say. And now, I'm sharing the foundational elements with you in Real Talking Tips 46, Making It Mine. What's your motivation? As a theater speech major in college, along with getting a secondary education degree at my mother's suggestion, and taking a few business classes at my father's urging, I found it difficult to quickly transition from the reality of the now to a meaningful speech, presentation, or performance a few moments later before an audience. I started sifting through the words and explanations different coaches and directors used to support, encourage, and hopefully improve my performance and speech. As someone who likes to live in my head, yes, that's written on my weaknesses list from Real Talking Tips Episode 1. I realized that vocabulary words, while described a specific way in the dictionary, tend to have different meanings to different people. So when I wrote the first version of my book, There's Money Where Your Mouth Is, way back in 1994, and it was published by Random House in 1995, I had to think, what is my system for tapping into and presenting a focused, believable, emotional, logical truth? I realized that many people on my performance journey didn't use the exact words I needed to access my personal truth and personality. The words they said were correct, but they didn't tap into my emotions, my history, my imagination, and my storytelling ability. How can someone describe that magical transition? Yet it needs to happen when someone walks on stage or a film set to deliver a speech or theatrical performance, or speak into a microphone when performing alone or with others. After asking myself a lot of what and why questions, I created the M.I.N.E. system, tested it out with my students, and put words to the system and included a dedicated chapter to it in the first 2 editions of my book. I later trademarked Making It Mine in my 3rd and 4th editions of There's Money Where Your Mouth Is, with my new and current publisher, Allworth Press. At this point in my career, I've taught Making It Mine to thousands of voiceover students, lots of podcasters, and business executives. I've used the foundational elements of Making It Mine to lead full day, half day, and weekend retreats with attorneys, business execs, news reporters, and salespeople. What I discovered about people in this 3-decade process is that the logical side of the brain fights this information. That's because the brain often struggles to acknowledge and accept our subconscious actions. Then, when all 4 elements of the Making It M.I.N.E. are accepted, the logical side of the brain lets go. The creative side of the brain takes over, drops it lower in the body, and the magic happens. Let's begin the first part of my Making It Mine performance system with motivation. The MINE acronym in my Elaine A. Clark, Making It M.I.N.E. performance system, stands for motivation, intentions, need, and emotions. I'll kick off this 4-episode Real Talking Tips series with the letter M for motivation. If you're confused at the end of this episode, remember that this is the first of 4 Making It M.I.N.E segments. And if you're thinking, I'm an intelligent person, how can I not get it? Relax. That's why I take a group of lawyers, salespeople, business teams, newscasters, and actors on a retreat, an immersive series of virtual or live classes, and offer individual coaching. Motivation is the moment before. It's the thing that just happened prior to speaking. It's the activity that you witnessed, conversation you just had, or resistance you encountered that prompted you to open your mouth, speak, and share information. Most of us spend our lives not thinking about our pre-life and history leading up to the moment when we actually speak. What we say and how we say it is fueled by the past that makes us who we are. Yet, if you're expected to give the same speech or performance numerous times in a variety of situations, the motivation can change. And we have to change with it. Many coaches use tricks to bring people out of their protective shell and in the moment by offering advice like, say a lead-in line or say a person's name before you speak. Well, that works for some people to open up their personality and connect with their audience. I discovered that many people outsmart themselves, become too clever, and retreat inside their head to find the answer, perfect scenario, and best person to imagine talking to. In my performance and coaching experience, I seldom found that worked to the speaker's best optimal advantage. You never say a lead-in line to get you revved up to talk in real life. Why should you do that now when you're supposed to sound real? And when someone says a person's name out loud before speaking, it often feels like a disingenuous salesperson who repeats your name too many times. I mentioned before in previous Real Talking Tips episodes that our history and personal opinion matter. Our life experiences shaped us into who we are, good or bad, lucky or challenged, attentive or oblivious. For the brief time that people look up to us as an authority for answers, we need to be a little selfish. What do I mean by selfish? When you speak, people expect you to be present, conversational, and real. Yet many situations are contrived or forced and far from real. So you, as a speaker, need to spend time with your past experiences so you can share that history with your present group of listeners. Flip through the card catalog of your mind. Find the perfect fit to a similar experience that matches how you're supposed to feel now, at this very moment. Allow the memories and attitude of that specific experience wash over you. Motivation is the reaction to a prior experience. So let the reality of your personal specific situation create a visceral physical reaction that motivates you to speak. Motivation. It is the prior event that justifies why the present action occurs in this specific manner. A quote from my There's Money Where Your Mouth Is books. Over and over, I heard directors and coaches say that the words are not important. As a writer, presenter, and someone who reads words aloud for a living, how can that be true? It's because the speaker's history and meaning behind the words defines the message. If a man walks up to a woman at a bar and offers to buy her a drink, does that mean the man has extra money to spend? Of course not, but that's what the words imply. History teaches us how to temper our words and present our message in a more accepting and, hopefully, appropriate manner. Here's your motivation assignment. 1. Rather than connect with the words in a script or speech, connect with a moment in your personal history when you were motivated to speak and share your opinion in a similar way. 2. Start with a visceral kinesthetic movement, rather than defaulting to cerebral perfection and inaction. Roll your eyes, shake your head, shrug your shoulders, or smirk as you begin to speak. Amazingly, each natural, specific, physical action magically connects with personal moments in your history. 3. Take note of your physical reactions when you're in a casual situation. Then add those movements when you perform or speak or with other people. Your motivation is unique to you. Find it, unleash it, and share it with the world. We'll continue my Elaine A. Clark Making It Mind system in Real Talking Tips episode 47 as we add intentions to your performance and speech communication. Thanks for joining me on the Real Talking Tips podcast. To find out more, check out my books and apps and visit my website, ElaineClarkVO.com. Let's stay in touch. Become part of the Real Talking Tips community. Hit the subscribe button and use hashtag Real Talking Tips, hashtag ElaineClarkVO. You can also follow me on Twitter at ElaineClarkVO, Instagram ElaineClark.VO, and Facebook Elaine Clark Apps and Books. And don't forget to practice. It's all about communication. Go ahead, click the subscribe button.